Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be creating this look. If you want to see how it goes, carry on watching and let's get right into it. Starting off with a clean base, I already did my skincare and everything is nice and settled in. I'm going to go ahead and brush my brow hairs up and I'm going to conceal below them with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Tan Sand. I'm going ahead to take my time and I'm making very short strokes to make sure that I don't make any mistakes, and I'm sculpting my brows as smoothly as possible. Remember not to have too much product on your brush so that your brush doesn't become slippery. I'm also going to go ahead and buff the concealer into my skin with my Real Techniques brush. I'm buffing the concealer into my skin before doing the other brow because this concealer dries down very fast, so you want to work fast when you're using it. So I'm going to go ahead and do same to my other brow and I'm going to buff it out as well. I'm going to go ahead and drag down the concealer down onto my eyelids. This is serving as an eyeshadow base. I'm trying to make my eyelid like an even color because my eyelids are not even. Also, I'm going to be doing some bright colors today, so I want the colors to pop. So it's always advisable to use a concealer, preferably 2 to 3 shades lighter than you, to conceal your eyelids. You don't have to do this. Also, you can get an eyeshadow primer, but I always prefer to use a concealer. I'm going ahead to set my concealer on my eyelids so that they don't move around or crease. As you know, I have a problem with creasing eyelids, so I prefer to do this. You want to set lightly, use a brush. I'm using my Real Techniques setting brush and I'm pushing the powder very lightly into my eyelids. For eyeshadow today, I'm using my JUVIA'S the Rebel Army eyeshadow palette. I love this eyeshadow palette. I just got it recently because I was drawn to the colors. I do not have any eyeshadow colors like this, and I really love JUVIA'S because the eyeshadows just pop. So I'm going ahead to use this dark emerald green on my eyelids. I'm just buffing it in and I'm putting it on my entire lid, making sure that it doesn't go way up into my crease. You want to be careful so that you do not over put eyeshadow on your eyelid. So you want to go in with as little eyeshadow as possible. You want to pat it on your lid and you want to go ahead and blend it out. I'm going to go into that green right there and I'm going to put it on top of the color that I used previously. I'm using the same brush. If you're a beginner, you want to go ahead and pat it on top of it and go ahead and do the same blending motion that you can see me doing. Remember not to let it go above your crease. You don't want to make it messy. This is a very, very beautiful eye color, and this is going to be really, really beautiful in the end. So what you want to do is just take your time and blend it out. Remember to pat the color onto your eyelids before you go ahead and blend it out. It looks a little messy, but it's gonna look really, really good at the end of the day. do not let any color go onto your brow bone. Let it stay in your crease now. And when you are picking up a color, do not put it into your crease directly. You want to start off from your eyelids and build upwards. So I'm going to go into this green shimmery shade right there, and I'm going to do a cut crease. Now I'm not doing a cut crease like a typical cut crease with the concealer. I am cutting my crease with the eyeshadow. So I'm using a flat brush, and I am starting from my inner corners, and I'm gonna go onto my entire eyelid. Where I can feel my eyeball is where I stop. I do not climb onto my crease. Remember that you do not put shimmery colors onto your crease. Otherwise, you're gonna look like a disco ball. You're gonna look really, really funny. And yeah, as you can see, I'm just drawing short strokes and putting the eyeshadow onto my lid as slowly as possible so that I can create this beautiful look. So you can see that the look is coming together now. Going back into that dark green that I put on my lids, and I'm using that to smoke out the ends of my shimmery color to create a smoke effect, a smoky effect. And this is just going to tie the entire look together. And as you can see, I used just 2 brushes for this look. Even though it looks really dramatic, I didn't use so many brushes. I just used one blending brush from CVL Beauty and a flat shadow brush from Evita Joseph. As you can see, I'm just going in back and forth with those colors just to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. Now I'm just cleaning up any fallout, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply my liquid eyeliner to tie the entire look together. I'm not going to be creating a wing. I'm just trying to line my eyelids, and I'm just going to try to create a base for my eyelashes that I'm going to be applying a little later. This liquid eyeshadow, this liquid eyeliner is from So Aesthetics. I know that this might be a little confusing for my beginners, but it's okay to do your brows after your eyeshadow. I try to pick different techniques to do my tutorials because I know that not everybody is comfortable with the same thing. So as you can see, I concealed my brows and I'm going ahead to fill them in. This is easier for me. I have mentioned this before because I have my brows microbladed. However, if you do not have your brows microbladed, you can go ahead and use a brow gel to set your brows in place, and then you conceal below them, and then you can go ahead and fill them in. But if you're not comfortable, you can go ahead and fill your brows in before you conceal them and move ahead into eyeshadow. Whichever is convenient for you is fine. You always get the same results anyways. It's always about what is comfortable for you. As you can see, I'm doing short strokes with my brows, and I'm just making sure that I'm creating hair-like features, and I'm going ahead to blend out the product into my brows. Do not forget to do this step, otherwise your brows are gonna look really, really chunky, and you do not want that. I'm going ahead to apply my lash glue onto my lash band. That's for my false eyelashes. I'm gonna go ahead and apply them. You want to wait till your glue gets tacky. Tacky means sticky, so that it would easily just apply on there. Now when your eyelash looks like this, do not go ahead and do it. You want to make sure that you arrange it properly on your eyelids. You place it properly on your eyelids. You want to place it as close to your lash line as possible. And as you can see, I put it in the middle part, and I'm going ahead to drag it onto the ends and the inner corners of my eyes until I am comfortable with it. I'm going ahead to push the eyelash close to my lash line, as close to my lash line as possible, so that there's no gap between my actual eyelashes and the false eyelashes. So just watch me fix my other eyelash. we're going to go ahead and move into the base. I'm going to start off with priming my skin with my Milk Hydro Grip Primer. This is the first step for your base. You want to make sure you have a primer that is good for your skin type. I have oily combination skin. This primer works great for my skin. It just makes sure that the foundation I apply just adheres to my skin, sticks to my skin so that it doesn't move around so much. So I'm just buffing that into my skin and making sure that it's settled well into my skin. Foundation today, I'm using the Too Faced Born This Way matte foundation in the shade Chestnut. I'm gonna put 2 pumps at the back of my hand. I'm gonna go in with a flat brush and I'm gonna make sure that there's not a lot of product on the brush, and I'm going to go ahead and sculpt the top part of my brows. This just makes sure that your brows just blend into your skin from the top part and you do not have a halo brow. So you can definitely pick up this step, especially if you do your brows first before your base. You go ahead and blend out your brows, the top part of your brows, with a little bit of your foundation. Remember, your foundation is a little bit on the liquid side, so you want to go ahead and pat off any excesses off the brush before you go ahead and put it above your brows. Otherwise the product is going to seep into your brows and blending it out is going to be very difficult. So I'm going ahead to use this same brush to put the foundation all over my face. I'm going to go ahead and blend it out with my Morphe foundation brush. Remember, when patting foundation into your skin, you want to pat it, not rub it. Do not swipe it so that it sits well on your skin. Foundation is not going to be absorbed into your skin. It's sitting right on top of your skin. So if you want a flawless coverage, a flawless base, remember to pat the foundation onto your skin. Do not swipe, do not rub it, regardless of which tool you are using. If you're using a brush or a sponge, you want to make sure to pat the foundation into your skin. It also helps you to get a full coverage because swiping kind of takes away some of the products from your skin, but patting just makes sure that the product is sitting on your skin very smoothly. I'm going in with just a little bit more foundation because I had some of my skin peeking through and I didn't want my skin to peek through today because I wanted to do a very full coverage look. So I'm going ahead to just buff the foundation into my skin. I'm going back in with my damp beauty blender. I'm just patting it all over my skin just to absorb any excess product and to just ensure my skin is very flawless. You need to use a damp beauty blender, which means that you put it under a running tap, squeeze off all the excess, squeeze the beauty sponge in a tissue to absorb any more water, and then it becomes damp and then you can use it on your skin. I'm going into highlights with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Tan. I'm placing the products under my eyes, the bridge of my nose, my mustache area, my forehead and my chin. I'm going in with a darker concealer just to conceal around the very light concealer because this concealer is really light and I didn't want to have flashback. So this second concealer is essentially very close to my skin tone, and this is just going to make it blend very easily into my skin. As you can see, I am blending out with a brush and I am doing soft tapping motions because this is not going to be absorbed into my skin. It's going to sit on my skin. So in order to have a flawless base, you want to tap and not swipe. I'm going back in with a damp sponge just to blend out what's on my nose and blend out what's under my eyes and everywhere else on my face, to do some extra blending, to take off any excess product, to make sure it's as flawless as ever. I am a brush girl typically, but I love to use beauty blenders as well, beauty sponges. This sponge is from Rosé. It's a Ghanaian brand, and I really love how it works. For cream contouring, I'm using my Huda Beauty Tantour Contour Cream Bronzer in the shade Medium, and I'm gonna place that right on top of my cheekbones, my temples and forehead, and my chin, and I'm gonna go ahead and blend it out with the same brush. So the next step is to set. You need to set all cream products on your face, especially if you have oily skin. You don't want the products to be moving around on your face. It's always advisable to use a loose powder. Some people like to set with a pressed powder. I feel like it just makes it a little bit cakey if you use a pressed powder. So I suggest you get yourself a loose powder. The Laura Mercier translucent powder is amazing. The Earthbound setting powder is amazing. The RCMA no color powder is amazing. The Maybelline Fit Me loose powder is amazing. All these powders are amazing. There are lots of powders out there that you can use to set your face, your concealer. I always go in with my sponge just to push the powder in and make sure that I set those areas. I don't go straight in ahead to bake. I set before I bake. Make sure you set the products before you bake. Setting is pushing a little bit of the powder into the cream areas or where you apply the cream to make sure that the cream absorbs the powder before you go ahead and set. Now for the rest of my face, I'm going to set it with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Press Powder. For the rest of the face, you're going to be light-handed with your press powder. And essentially, foundations are more on the liquid side and they tend to set. So you can use a pressed powder to set your foundation instead of a loose powder. Or you can go ahead and set with your loose powder, whichever you are comfortable with. And as an oily girl, I tell you that setting with a loose powder all over your face is a game changer. So you want to try it out. I'm gonna go ahead and set my contour with my Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Coco. This is called bronzing. A bronzer has a little bit of warmth to it and just brings some warmth back into your face. As you can see, I'm using my brush to apply it all over where I applied my cream contour, and it's just bringing some warmth back into my face. On some days, I do not use cream contour. I just go ahead and use a bronzer, and it just, passes the vibe check, and I just really like it. So you can go ahead and skip cream contouring and just go ahead and use a bronzer. That is always fine too, especially for everyday makeup. Or if it's really hot and you don't want to have so many cream products on your face, you can go ahead and use a powder bronzer instead of a cream contour. So I quickly contoured my nose, and I'm going ahead to clean it up with some translucent powder, the same translucent powder that I use from Laura Mercier. It's a Laura Mercier powder in the shade Honey, and I am just cleaning up my bronzer. I'm going back in with my eyeshadow palette. I'm going ahead to smoke out my lower lash line just to tie the entire look together. I'm just going back in with my powder brush that I use to apply my pressed powder and my setting powder brush from Real Techniques just to dust off any excess powders. And I'm going ahead to apply blush. I'm crazy about blush. If you're new here, this is my JUVIA'S Please Bella blush. I'm just applying that onto the apples of my cheeks upwards with my Real Techniques blush brush. Now I'm going ahead to set my entire face. I'm using my Pixie setting spray. After applying all powders, you want to make sure that you set your face just to make sure that everything is nice and set and it appears skin-like. And this is where I usually go in with mascara, because putting mascara on your face before setting can be very disastrous, especially if the mascara doesn't dry down fast. It's gonna go ahead and mess your makeup up. So I'm applying some brow gel and I'm going ahead to apply my setting my highlighter. I'm using the Honey Star from Laura Mercier. I apply that onto my nose, my inner corners, my brow bones, and sometimes on the Cupid's bow. And I'm going ahead to apply that on my cheekbones. And look at that glow. Look at that glow, guys. It's so beautiful. For my lips, I'm going ahead to line them with a very dark brown lip liner. This is the Wood lip liner. I'm going ahead to just overline my lip just a little bit. My lip color today, I'm gonna be creating my signature ombre nude lip color. I'm going in with my Stunna lip paint in the shade Unveil. I'm gonna put that over the brown lip liner that I used. Again, I'm gonna slightly overline my lip. Most part of my lip, I'm gonna be putting the Stunna lip paint in the shade Unbutton. I'm just gonna place it right in the middle, and I'm going to make sure that I mix it up well so that it looks really good. And I'm gonna go all over my lips with my NYX Butter Gloss. This is how the look came together. I hope you guys enjoy this. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.